going to do today is I'm going to walk you through the whole process of Facebook, how to create the ad, and I'm also going to add in some tips and tricks in there. Have any of you guys on here previously ran a Facebook ad yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now when you did it, did you just boost a post, or did you actually go into the Facebook advertising portal?
In the portal. I did the whole thing.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to start from scratch. There's not too many of us on here, so if you have any questions at any point, just shoot. All right, so as you can see, I've got my Zoom screen up. So when you get into the Facebook dashboard, and you might have to move your little video guys around in order to see the full screen, or you can minimize the thumbnails if you don't want to see us. You're not going to need to see our little video faces if you don't need to. So from your main dashboard, when you log into Facebook, we're going to go up here in the corner where our little drop down arrow is, and we're going to go to manage ads. Now, if anybody's new to this concept or anything, you need to make sure that you do have a business page hooked to your account. You can only run ads if you have a business page. You can't run it from your personal page. So you're going to click on your account name once this opens, and this is going to bring you to your whole dashboard. If you've never done an ad before, it won't look as crazy. If you have done an ad before, then you are familiar with this portal. You have all of your past ads and all of your different reports and things. I really love doing Facebook advertising because it has so many different reports that it produces, which is really great for your sellers. Every time we do an ad, I screenshot it, I send it to the sellers. It makes them really happy to see what we did at the end of the day, how many views they've gotten and how many reactions, and you know, anybody who got involved with the ad. It gives you lots of pretty graphs and all kinds of things. So before we go into how to start the ad, I'm just going to cover what this dashboard looks like in the beginning. So all of your different campaigns run along here. You can see how much you spent on each campaign. You can see if it's completed. You can see if you still have one in draft. If you've ever had any errors, it'll show up here as well. Running along here, you can see ad set errors, and then you can go through and try to fix them prior to it running. These have ad set errors just because they were examples that I've done for previous trainings. Now, when your ads are completed or while they're going, it'll continue to keep a running number of your results along here. It's very different. So you've got campaigns, which you could make an entire campaign for just one listing. So if you had 123 Main Street, that would be your whole campaign. And within the campaign, you have different ad sets. So it breaks it down. It makes it very organized. If that part confuses you, just keep naming everything the same. So you can see, like I did here, I named the ad set name Ed Major's house, just like the campaign was named. How this would look different if you utilize their organization the way that you wanted to is under ad set names, you would have different ad set names. So if you did 123 Main Street, and maybe you did an advertisement that was like a Corona ad set that was talking about, you know, are you getting cabin fever? Let's upgrade, or something like that. That would be an ad set. And then maybe you did a separate one for people who are interested in pool homes, and you did like something that was pool home driven. Those are different ad sets all within one campaign. So your campaign is for that specific property. And then you have the different ads within each of them. That way you can see when you're on the dashboard how much you spent on an entire property, but then you can go in deeper and see how much you spent on each ad.
Cool.
Have I lost anybody yet? Because that's kind of the most complicated part, is understanding the ad sets versus campaigns. Because it used to be when Facebook
I'm
first
good.
opened ads, you would just make an ad. They didn't have all these sections and all this organization. So that's, you know, it's not super new, but it's new since they started. Okay, so at any point on an ad set or on a campaign, you can click View Charts, and that is what's going to give you all of your information. Now, you do want to make sure, as you see when I opened it, it says that there's no activity, because it's just showing a certain date range. So I like to click the lifetime of the ad to see what I got for the entire ad. So 13 results, that means I got 13 leads, because the ads that we're going to focus on today are lead generating. You've got all kinds of different ads where you can drive people to your website. You can try to get more followers on social media. You can try to get more views on a video, all kinds of different things. The ones we're focusing on today as realtors that we really, really like are cold, hard leads. So we're going to get people to give us their information. So you can see here, I got 13. 901 people were reached. That means 901 people really looked at the ad. And so then it shows how much I've spent and how much that means that it costs per lead that I got. And you can see here, it'll break it down based on the timeline of the ad, when it was more popular, when it was less popular. This will help you for future ads, but it'll also be able to give an idea to your customer, you know, what they're reaching. You can go through up here and click different things like demographics, placement, and delivery. So it'll give you age range. Maybe more women looked at it than more men. And you can just go through and get all kinds of different details on what your ad produced for you. So this will help you throughout the whole process of being able to keep track of what's going on, report back to your seller, and continue to grow to be better at doing Facebook ads. Do we have any questions yet? We're following, we're good. All right.
Yeah,
So,
wait, I had one question.
yeah.
On the graph where it showed your traction and how much you were getting, do they typically, the one before that one, they typically, the performance one, I mean, this is over a course of like 2 days. Do they drop that quickly typically, or do they?
No, like right here where it drops down.
Yep.
No, typically it's more steady. But this, I believe, was a Monday. I don't have my calendar in front of me. So for some reason that day, we didn't get a lot of views. I'm seeing weird timelines with Corona. Like, people are really on social media, so I'm getting much higher numbers overall because everyone's on social media. People are interacting more, but I'm getting like weird interacting times. So it's not like it used to be. They used to say, you know, the best time to post on Facebook is during lunch break time, and then when people get home. All these different statistics, they're kind of out the window right now because people are just sitting on social media constantly, and then they're getting bored and they're like going out at random times, bike riding and walking. So this isn't very typical. I can go back and look at an older one, but it's usually more stable. It goes up and down a little bit. Like, I get a lot during the weekend, it'll look like this, and then it'll drop like halfway during weekdays. So I do get more attention during the weekends. So typically we like to run things like a Friday to a Monday.
Okay, so that you get a little more steady across the weekend. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had better luck on the weekends. So, because people are more likely to be on social media. But like I said, right now everybody's on social media, so it's beneficial to run an ad anytime right now.
Right.
And like I said, our numbers are going up dramatically because there's so many people sitting on social media. A lot of people are just sitting at home dreaming of their new house that they want because they're stuck and they're staring at the four walls of the house that they hate. So a lot of the ads that I've been running are kind of Corona related. You have to be sensitive on the topic. You know, you don't want to pick fun at it and get all kinds of people upset. And you have to be careful not to be audited and taken off. But I've just posted things like, you know, has more time at your home made you realize that you're ready to upgrade? Or I saw somebody post an ad about like how millennials are stuck at home and now they're actually going to have kids and need to upgrade because they're going to have the next generation of the coronials. So, I mean, that's a little iffy because you're talking about people making kids at home, but you can really get creative right now with everything going on. And people really are still buying. We're still getting a lot of pending sales with Jones & Company, still seeing the numbers move. We still have a housing shortage. Plus, I don't know if any of you guys watched the NAR live stream yesterday. Yeah. But they had their top people from across the nation. All of our leadership was on there. And one of the top analysts said that the market is still stable. It's not going to crash like the stock market did or anything, that they're still seeing a housing shortage, which means our market is going to continue to go up. because people are still wanting to buy houses. We still have a shortage. So, I mean, it's all really good news. And this is the best way to get in touch with people during this time. So, all right. So this is everything that you're basically going to need on the dashboard. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and create a campaign and an ad from scratch. So we have a listing that's in-house. She is selling. She was a realtor of ours. Now she's in Leisure Island Realty Group. So I'm going to use hers as an example and see if we can get it sold, because she moved to another country. And then the coronavirus happened. So she needs as much help as possible. So you're going to use this big green button right here that says create. And it's going to ask you a few questions. If you haven't done this before, you can't screw it up. It's like Mad Libs. You're just going to fill it out. So we're not going to use an existing campaign. I am going to just start from scratch. I'm going to use the address from MLS. I don't have it memorized, so we're going to paste it in there. And then ad set name. Like I said before, if these little features confuse you, just continue to name your ad the same thing over and over again. But this is where you would, you know, keep the address the same and then maybe make this the coronavirus one. The other one would be a pool type ad, or whatever you're going to classify your different ads as. Okay. It looks like it's still loading. Let me move my little screen guy.
It says you got to fix something or other.
Yeah, and it's just not loading. Let me try this one more time. I don't know if you guys have done any Zooms yet, but here we go. Okay, so also if you haven't, like Barb, you said you haven't done some ads in a while. Something that they added 2 months ago is the Facebook lead terms and conditions. When you're going through this ad, I'm going to point out there's several places where we have to identify that we are selling something that has to do with the 3 protected work environments that Facebook is working on right now. So that's anything that has to do with credit, anything that has to do with employment, and anything that has to do with housing. So we follow under housing. They got a lot of lawsuits for people who were discriminating in their ads. So like we can't advertise, when you go to choose your demographics, you can't discriminate based on any of the classes that are protected. So they're going to ask you several times to identify that, you know, you are aware with what you're doing. So this is going to be the #1 thing that'll get your ad shut down. If you go to post it and you haven't identified that you are advertising housing, they're going to shut your ad down right away. And that is, like I said, that's a newer feature within the last month. So once you click create, you've named your ad, it's going to open up this whole dashboard. And it might become very overwhelming, but I promise if you just go tab by tab here on the left-hand side and fill everything out, it's very easy. So we're going to walk it through. All right, so we've got our ad set name already chosen. If you have multiple pages, it will ask you to choose which page you're going to advertise for. So I have multiple pages. I have my own real estate page. I've got Jones & Co., all kinds of things. So make sure if you have multiple, you've got the right one chosen. It shows that I've already accepted. If you're going out there for the first time, it's going to ask you to accept all of their terms and conditions that are new. I've already accepted it, so I don't have to do anything for that. So then you're going to choose your budget and your schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and have the start date as today, and I'm going to have this end on Monday. So I'm going to run like an extended weekend ad. You can choose specific times if you want to. For me, I just leave it as soon as it posts, it goes. But you can get specific once you start seeing and paying attention to your analytics. If you see like a decline at a certain time, you want to cut it off before that decline, then you can. So ad set limits, you can choose specific limits here for spend limits, but we are going to choose our spend limit down at the bottom. Sorry, it keeps jumping around on you guys. Okay, so right here it shows when using custom audiences, be sure that your audience selections do not discriminate against people based on certain personal characters. So this is the part I'm talking about. Because I've already run an ad before within this ad set, I told them that it was housing. This is where it'll ask you if you are doing anything for housing, for credit, or for employment. And this is where the section right here, and it'll show up on the side that you've chosen correctly. So what it will do is stop you and not let you discriminate by age, or, you know, you can't market to a certain race. I'm sure some of you have heard the story. We had a customer with one of our agents. They listed their home and they only wanted to sell to the Mexican population. And they wanted her to run ads specific to the Mexican population, and they wanted her to only give the Mexican population like they would do seller financing, but only if they were Mexican. So obviously we had to fire them, because even after explaining the fact that we couldn't, they were very persistent in that they wanted this. They wanted her to run Facebook ads that were to the Mexican population. It will stop you. It's not even going to let you do that. So you can't really mess up or get in trouble anymore, because Facebook is keeping an eye on all of us now. And that is really to keep themselves out of jail. Okay, so you can create custom audiences, or if you have a saved audience that you've made prior, that way you don't always have to create your audience, you can do that here. So creating new audiences, what this does is allows you to use your customer list. If you have one already, you can use offline activity, people who have gone to your websites, people who are already following your page. These are things for people who are already interacting with you that you want to retouch again or keep in front of. Personally, I don't use this as much because I try to use organically for Facebook. So I constantly comment on everybody's stuff and interact with them on Facebook, so I don't have to pay to continue to advertise in front of the people who are already following me or influenced by me. So, but that is an option for you there. You can continue to scroll down, and sorry guys, I have to keep moving my cameras around. So if you continue to scroll down, then you can choose the location. It's not gonna, it does watch out for the age range, but I still have been able for a 55 and older community to advertise people who are 55 and older. So I guess the computer must run through and check for that, but you do want to be careful with the age and the gender, and this is constantly updating. So as you can see, when you scroll over it, it says this option is fixed and can't be changed. And that's because you're doing housing. So first, I'm going to choose the location. This house is located in Cape Coral. I'm going to go ahead and just do Cape Coral. But right now, a lot of people are having luck with focusing on certain areas, like New York, for instance. They're saying that a lot of people are, you know, stuck in their little homes. They're done and they want to move to Florida. I mean, we saw how many people flew here once they went under lockdown, and then, you know, it slowly declined. But people are really going to want to buy homes here in Florida from the city areas where they've been on lockdown. So people are having really good traction advertising to people in New York versus wherever that home is actually located. I know Debbie and I we do advertisements every year during the blizzards, for example, up north, wherever they're having a really bad blizzard. You know, we say, are you sick of seeing this and rather see this? And you have the picture of the snow versus the sand. So we'll advertise in Boston because we're from up north in that area. So these are different things to think of. For right now, I'm going to keep it simple. Just do Cape Coral, because a lot of people in Cape Coral are upgrading within Cape Coral. But if you have a home that you think people, you know, who are trying to move from Lehigh and upgrade into Cape Coral, maybe you have a perfect home for that, then you'll want to think about where people are coming from to your home. What type of home are you selling and where are they relocating from? You have a question, Barbara?
No, just blowing the smoke away.
Okay. I was like, is that a hand? Okay, so, but just different things to think of when you're doing the location. You can choose a lot of different locations. As you're choosing your different demographics, you want to pay attention on the right-hand side here, your audience definition. So it'll tell you if you're like going after too many people where it's not really going to be targeted nicely to the right person. And it'll tell you if it's too specific. So you're not going to get enough people to advertise to. So just continue. This little speedometer will move consistently. So as you start to type in, it'll start to auto-populate for you. So I'm just going to do Cape Coral for now, and you can see the little guy moved automatically. Sometimes, especially if it's more centrally located for this, I'll do Cape Coral and Fort Myers. But as everything changes, you'll also see your reach and your leads are consistently changing. So you'll see if it's dropping too far or if it's growing. So that way you can continue to play with this until you get the number that you want. All right, so the detailed targeting is the most important part of this process. We're gonna click the little edit button. A lot of people, it used to just have like a big create target audience button. So a lot of people get confused here now because it's just this little pencil up here in the corner when you're hovering over it. So if we click edit, what this does is open up a whole search section for different demographics. So this is where you're going to choose what people are interested in, what other sites they visited. The more you play with this, the more comfortable you get with it, the better you're going to get at this. So what I start with is people who have already been searching on different sites like realtor.com and Zillow, people who are already searching for, people who are already searching for property, because we know that's where they all go. They're not searching on Facebook to begin with. They've already looked at properties on other sites. So I like to type in the big players, and you can see it'll label on the far side if it's an interest, if it's a behavior. You can go after, we have an agent in our office that likes to just work with doctors for obvious reasons. So they'll go after people who have their career mark as a doctor or a physician. We have realtors in our office that work with divorce lawyers and different things like that. So you can target people based on their careers. You can target people based on their income. Michael Hall just got his, it's like a $1.5 million home under contract. He was constantly doing ads like this, and he was doing nationwide and doing the top 5% of income for each zip code. You can get very, very specific with this. So I'm going to continue with homes.com. And then once you've got a couple of things plugged in here, Facebook will start to realize where you're going with this, what type of person you're going after. So right now I'm just going after anybody who's interested in real estate, who's already browsing in real estate. They know what behaviors these people are doing based on their cookies. They follow what websites they're going on, depending on if you want to get into it or not. They're saying that if you say something out loud, your phone hears you, you get the advertisement, but who knows? So you can click here under suggestions based on stuff that you've already started to fill in. It'll start to suggest different topics and interests and behaviors for you. So people who are on Trulia, people who are first-time home buyers, I don't want to just do first-time home buyers. But what this does is these are all ands. So people who are first-time home buyers and are on homes.com and are in realtor.com and are on Trulia. If you were to scroll down further, if you wanted to get very targeted and specific, you could go to show more options. You could do languages, you can do things, but you, just like in the MLS where you have the and or not options, you can select, maybe you only want first-time home buyers who are also on homes.com and realtor.com, but you don't want the and, you want the or. If that confuses you, just forget everything I just said. It'll make sense the more ads you do. But you can continue to choose these. I'm going to leave it at this for now. And then you just want to check on your numbers. So I'm still looking pretty good. I've got 3 to 16 leads. Typically when I have these numbers, it's towards the higher end. This is the same numbers that they gave me for the last ad that I ran that I showed you guys as an example, and I got 13 leads. So I've never really seen it this low, especially right now where everybody's on social media. Do you guys have questions about how to choose demographics and behaviors? You can click the browse button if you're new to this and you're kind of uncomfortable with it. You don't even know where to start, like what demographic to go after. On one of our quarantine corners, we talked about how to choose your best demographic for your farming area. Same applies to this. So what's your favorite type of person to work with? Are they a seller? Are they a buyer? you know, who ideally is going to purchase or sell their home for what you're looking for. And that's what you're going to start to plug in here and kind of build your ideal person. All right. So we're going to continue to scroll. Automatic placements is always recommended. This means that they are going to choose whether it goes on Facebook or if it goes on Instagram, if it goes on the main news feed, or if it goes on the side, if they're on the desktop. This is based on each person-to-person behavior. Where has the consumer more typically interacted with ads? So if I, as a consumer, always click on ads that are in my news feed, it's going to continue to put those in my news feed versus on the side, because I don't go on the desktop very often. If I use Instagram more than Facebook, it's going to put it on Instagram versus Facebook. If you wanted to choose where your ad was going to go, maybe it's an Instagram specific ad, then you would choose this and tell them where you want it placed. But automatic is always best because you're going to get the most bang for your buck because they have all of the statistics and the algorithms. So you can continue to optimize and delivery and do all this stuff that they automatically do for you. But again, it's best to just let them do figuring out what the best delivery is and where to place it. So I am going to go back to this at the top because it started us here. So you do want to make sure you click through each tab. And obviously we have something to go back and fix here. But once you go through all the tabs, sometimes those caution buttons will start to disappear. So this is the special ad category and the housing. Again, like I said, it's going to be in multiple different places, but do make sure right away on that first tab, you have this selected so that your ad doesn't get declined. So, sorry, it's frozen. Okay, so at the bottom, this is the most important part, your campaign budget. So you can choose to have a lifetime budget, or you can choose to have a daily budget if you want to spend like $5 per day. I always do a lifetime budget so I know exactly how much I am spending. It is not letting me click anything. Okay. So it'll tell you if your budget is too low based on stuff that you start to choose. So as you start to change everything on the side here, this will continue to change as well. So it says that my campaign budget needs to be at least $38.57. They get very specific with their numbers to account for all ad set budgets in this campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this to 39. Now, if you were more targeted, if I was more targeted when I chose my demographics and my area and things like that, I could set a lower budget. Typically, I spend $20, $25 on an ad and get 10 to 15 leads. So that's kind of what you can expect. So we were just in the second tab. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go down to the third tab.
Before you leave,
yeah.
Joanna, before you leave that, there was a couple of tabs above there that had something about auction, the buying type.
Yeah. So, so this is locked in because I already created this campaign before. If you're starting new, auction is always there. There's nothing else when you're doing housing type. It doesn't mean that the house is for auction. It's just the strategy of how Facebook places your ad. So there's no other option for that one. So you're just going to leave it. The campaign objective, we put in here lead generation because this is what we want to get out of the ad. It'll ask you that in the beginning process as well when you're creating your first ad. So this is where you would choose, do you want website clicks? Do you want video views? What is the objective when somebody clicks your ad of what you want them to do? So are you trying to drive more traffic to your website? Are you trying to just get people to click follow or like to get more attention on Facebook? What we're working on today is lead generation. So this is we're going to go through how to create it, but it's going to, when somebody clicks on the ad, it's going to ask them to fill out a form with certain information so that you get cold hard leads.
Gotcha.
But thank you for bringing me back to that because I did skip over it. Did you guys have any other questions about this?
Not on that page.
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, since on the age part or in the age option, we cannot just change the age there. Let's say I'm gonna target 55 plus people. Now, what would be your best recommendation? Since in the Facebook Ads Manager, we won't be able to change the age. What would be your best option there?
Right. So typically I try to go into the detailed targeting and go after people with certain lifestyles that are 55 and older. But up until a couple of weeks ago, you could still change this to 55 and older. I did put in a like a complaint, or I tried to interact with Facebook, but they really never do get back to you about trying to do 55 and older. And right now they're just not letting you. So the best way to do that is go into detailed target marketing and advertise to people who might already be in the types of like the 55 and older communities, or people who are into the specific amenities that might be in that community that are typical to 55 and older communities, and try to just target lifestyle instead of age specific. But I know that they're working on this. I don't know if they're going to change this or not for us.
So you can pick like shuffleboard?
Yeah, shuffleboard, bocce ball, and all those different things. So I try to sell the lifestyle of the community best I can. I personally, me and Debbie do a lot of manufactured homes. So this was the biggest part of our advertising before, was doing 55 and older. And in the past month, first they put the housing section on there, and I could still change the age, just not the gender, and I couldn't go for race. But you can see here recently they've changed it. You can't do the age. So I mean, if we all write in, I don't know if they'll change it, but I'm sure right now they've got kind of like bigger fish to fry other than worrying about whether I can advertise 55 and older. But I'll let you guys know if they reach back out to me. I mean, sometimes they do. So any other questions so far?
Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, so now we're going to go down to the third tab. We've already done the third tab. Just kidding, guys. All right, so we've got everything filled out there. So now we're going to go to the fun part, which is working on the design and the look of your ad. So this can be really fun, or this can be really nail biting, depending on what personality you have. So again, you're just going to follow down, read the little things. If you ever get lost, they really try to help you through the whole process. So it's showing the ad name again. We don't need to change any of that. The Facebook page that we already selected. And if you have a connected Instagram account, it's going to make sure you have the right Instagram account connected. So do make sure you have all of those connections. The way to do that is to go into your Instagram account and link your Facebook page, so that in the future, when you post to Instagram or Facebook, you can do it at the same time, but then it'll also help here when you're doing advertisements. So go into your settings on Instagram and click link account if you don't know how to do that. Okay, so for this, we've got the carousel photo option. As you can see here, it's pulling in what I typed in for a previous ad. So in this area, you can choose a single image or a video, so that you just have one photo if you would like, or the carousel will show like this. And you've probably seen advertisements like this before, where you can scroll through and see multiple photos, and they each have the button at the bottom of them. I like to do the carousel for the listings, because depending on the listing you have, this one really shows well with multiple photos, because it's got a pool, it's really pretty out front, it's on the water, so we want to make sure that all of those features are shown. Now, if you have like a fixer-upper, not so pretty property, you might only want to do one photo. So you can also, if you choose video, it'll help you create a video. That's kind of like a whole nother class if we want to cover that at another time, but it'll let you create a video. You can upload 6 photos, and it'll scroll through. You can choose the transitions of it if you want it to fade in and fade out, all kinds of really cool stuff. So they've got a video creator within the platform. So
Joanna, where did you get these pictures from? Where do you put them in here? Is there a place?
Yeah, so
Pick them from here, or?
Yeah, so when you click on single image, there's going to be an upload button here.
Okay.
And then down here where you've got the creation cards, you can show the little remove and the edit buttons here. It's not letting me
Okay.
click them because it's a previous campaign, but your little upload buttons are going to be right here. So this one, we've just got the front, and then the freshwater access is shown, and then the private pool is shown. But all of your little upload buttons will be right here. Mine is currently locked because we went the route of a previous campaign. So, and if you need any help, these learn more buttons are really helpful. And again, at the top of every page, you've got the, they've got little things that'll help you along the way as you start to change stuff as well. So as you upload your photo right here, where you would click change image, I input the photo. Your headline is here. So luxury and Florida style. The headline is what's going to go on the bottom of each photo. For the next photo, I had put freshwater access in the description line. So this shows off the freshwater access, private pool in Lanai with the pool photo, and they can scroll through, and each button is going to bring them to the same place. So you can see there's a learn more button at the bottom of each of them, and we're going to get to the buttons and how to set that up as well. So if you're doing video, this is the create video button as well, and they give you some tips and tricks on the best way to create a video. Also, running along the side here, you can click into different views and see how it's going to look on each different aspect. So you can make sure it works wherever it's going to be. So whether it's on Instagram or it's on Facebook, if it's on the marketplace feed, if it's on the mobile versus the desktop, you can click through each of these and see how it's going to look for each different thing. Especially if you've chosen specifically where you want to advertise it, then you're going to want to make sure that it looks good for the specific area that you chose. Okay, so if we continue to scroll, the primary text that you type in is what is going to show as the main verbiage for your post. You do want to keep this short. Right now it shows see more because it's scrunched in, but this is a good length. If you write like a whole paragraph or a whole page, you know, they're not going to read it. They're more likely to pay attention to more photos or the video. So that's what you want to focus on. And your first couple of sentences are the most important for what information you want to grab them. So I put looking for a gorgeous Northwest Cape Coral home with, all the best features. So this, I'm going after people who are really looking for Northwest Cape because this home is really out there in Northwest Cape. I don't want to waste my time with people who are just interested in Cape Coral and then they realize how far out it is and they're like, oh, never mind, and they hang up the phone. You know, I want to really attract a specific type of person, so that's why I've typed this here. So depending on what you're trying to get their attention with, you want to make sure that's in the first couple of sentences. So your call to action button, this is where you can click and choose what type of button you want this to say. So you can make a custom one. You can choose some that they have pre-formatted. You just use this little drop-down button and click it, and it'll change what the button says. I have learned more because I want them to inquire about the property. It's just worked better for me. But if you have something different that you want to put there, you can. So you can see here our little learn more button. But they don't call it a button, they call it a call to action. So do make sure that you carefully pay attention to that section. And as you're filling stuff out on here, it continues to update on here. So if you're not sure what goes where or what description means which box over here, as I start typing in luxury and Florida style, this changes as you're typing. So you'll be able to see where it's going and you can backspace and move it to where you want to go and make sure it fits correctly and everything looks good. You really can't mess it up. Facebook will not let you. They want it to look good so that they look good. Okay, so here are your lead forms. Now, what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to go out of this ad so that we can create a new lead form, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that completely. So just hang with me for a quick second. The lead form is what is going to be shown to people so that they can fill out information. You can select what type of information you want them to fill out. We're just going to go back to the beginning really quick.
Where'd you get that at? Did you just go to create from that main page?
Yeah, I'm just creating a new ad because it's got everything locked. So I'm just starting this really quick. Okay, so we've got lead generation. Now hopefully it'll let me change. This is the same place where we were before. This is just a different ad that I don't have locked. Nope, it's still got it locked. Okay, so we're just gonna go back to where we were. In this section, once you're done designing your ad, once you are done designing your ad and what it looks like, then you're gonna create that form. There is a button there that allows you to create a new form.
Where is the button? Just under the create one there?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it for you guys. Just 1 second. Typically, when we do these classes, we do them pre-recorded because Facebook really likes to give me crap. And I am just starting this over really, really quick for you guys.
Yeah, but I like to see that it's giving you a hard time so that when it gives me a hard time, it's normal.
Right?
Yeah. Misery loves company. I agree.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not flawless.
We all think you are.
I know, right?
Don't tell us the secrets.
All right. Typically, when we do these classes too, I do the ones that have already been created so that it doesn't lag the internet so much. But to each their own. Okay. So this is back where we were before. It looks a little different because it's a different ad. But when you get to this section after you've designed your ad, so right here is where you would change image or crop image. And
What's the title above that?
the what?
Well, there was something above it. Is that where it said dynamic creative or something? Ad creative?
Yeah, so ad creative, this is where you can make those videos we were talking about, the single image or the carousel. So this is the design part of the ad.
Okay.
And once you click carousel, see where before it had our pictures here. So this is where you would upload it. You can select an image. You can use a little plus button. So those are the buttons that you were looking for.
Okay.
So if we were to, you can choose how many media pieces you want. Typically, Facebook has suggested 3 in the past. So if you were to upload an image, this is showing ones that I've uploaded before, or you can use your upload button right here. It'll access your desktop. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one for now. Just takes you kind of through the whole little detail process of choosing your photo. And as you choose the photo, you can see it starts to show up here on the side. And then you can scroll through and see what it looks like on different medias. Does that make a little bit more sense with the photos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then so this is where you could also change your headline. So I could put, you know, waterfront dream. And as I start to type, scroll down a little bit, you'll see it starts to pop up on the image. And then if we were to start to fill in a description, and you want to keep an eye on where this is located, you could say, you know, so here is the description. And as I type and I click out of it, it'll pop up where it generates.
Right.
All right. So we can continue to add photos. I'm going to skip that for right now, just to not take up too much of your time. And then if we wanted to put text in here, like we had before, typically I like to use what's already in MLS. There's no point in retyping what you've already created unless you're doing like a specific home. Obviously, you don't want to copy and paste this whole thing because that's too much verbiage. But I'm going to just go ahead and take the beginning part. It's usually you put the most important stuff at the beginning, but that way you're just not typing over and over and over again. So once you put it in there, you can see it populates here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the call to action, it automatically says sign up, but when you click this is where I choose learn more. You can have people subscribe, you can get quote, get offer, download, book now, different things. Really, learn more has just always worked better for me. So once you have all of that chosen, then that's where we're back at our forms. So right here, it shows you forms that I've used before. So once you make a form, you can reuse them, but I'm going to start from new just so that you guys can see what it's like if you don't have a form. So right here at the top is the button for create lead form, and it'll show you what date you created it on. It tries to make it easy so you don't have to keep clicking into it and editing it, but I always end up making a new lead form each time I do this, just because I'm very specific with what I want my people to see and what I want them to give me. So running along the right hand side, it's showing you what the ad form is going to look like. When people click learn more, this is what they're going to see. So it automatically uses the photo that you uploaded for the ad, but you can change this photo if you want to put like a specific banner. So here you've got all of your different options to fill out. I am going to collapse this camera for a second. Okay. So you have more volume or higher internet. It describes what each of those steps are going to bring you. I usually always go with more volume. This is usually what is recommended. So then you're just going to go through each of these tabs. The intro. So for the headline, I'm going to put get more information on this property. So this is where you can change the ad. I'm going to leave it now for simplicity, just so that they familiarize when they click from what they saw on Facebook and this opens, it doesn't look like they've been spammed or sent them to another website. So I typically leave it as this photo so they recognize what they've been sent to. But if you want to, you can upload a different image that fits it specifically in these little gray areas and create a really nice banner if you want to, up your branding or your marketing or anything like that. The layout for the information that they're getting here, you can choose if you want it to be bullet points or paragraph. So we're going to keep it at paragraph. And as you start to type in here, it'll start to fill out along the side as well. So I like to promise them something specifically so that they know what they're getting if they fill out their information. If it just says fill out your information, people don't like to willy-nilly fill out their information on social media anymore. So I like to say, please fill out the form below for a copy of the MLS information sheet. Because that's really what everybody wants. They want access to the MLS. They want to see the raw data of what's going on with the property. So I try to keep it simple, not too much verbiage there. But I want them to know that if they fill out their information, this is what I'm going to give them. If you're promising something else or trying, to do anything else, just try to promise them something on the form so that they have a reason to fill it out. People, if they don't know exactly what they're getting, if they're just going to get information, they're not going to fill out the form because they don't know what type of information they're getting. So then the questions. This is what it's going to ask them to fill out. So I want their email, I want their name, and then I usually ask for their phone number as well. And I've had really, really good luck with this. They've got all these different demographics and sections that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and choose phone number. So if you scroll along this, you can see it'll say get more information on this property, learn more by providing your information with the little instructions I've given, and it just asks for email, name, and phone number. You can continue to add as many things to this form as you want, but just remember, the more questions you ask, the less likely they are to fill it out. So the main things that we need for realtors to, you know, get leads, we need their email, we need their name, and we need their phone number. Typically, when somebody does fill this out and I get a lead, what I do is email them the MLS information right away, as promised, so that they don't feel like they're being taken for a ride. But then obviously I follow up via email. I try to follow up via text message, phone, and because they communicated with me on Facebook, I would use Facebook Messenger a lot to communicate with these leads again, because that's the platform that they like to use. Sometimes that'll get you more interaction than, you know, texting them or emailing them or different things. You just have to get creative with your communication. So it'll ask about the privacy policy, making sure that you're not selling your information to a third party. You're not paying Facebook $20 so that you can sell the information for $100. So if you have the privacy policy at the bottom of your website, like most of us do because we collect leads on our website, you can just link your website. If you don't have that, it's on the Jones & Company page. So what I do is I want the text to read Jones & Co. Realty. But what you can do is, you know, type out the Hilton team or the Dream team, whatever your site leads to. And then the URL that it's going to link to. So for this example, I'm going to use the Jones & Co. page. And that's where it's going to lead them to. If they decide at the little bottom section here where they want to view the privacy policy in case they're worried we're going to sell their information, they can. Typically, I've never had anybody click this, but it's just required by Facebook. So then we're going to go to the thank you screen. So once they've filled out their information, this is what they're going to see. So it says, thanks, you're all set. Your info has been sent to Jones & Co. Realty. Tap below to visit Jones & Company Realty. So this is where you can also put your own website. If you don't have one, again, you can use your offices. So you can choose what the button's going to say. I always keep it at view website. And again, I'm going to put jonesandcorealty.com. So they've already given you their information. This isn't going to like take them somewhere else and then you're not going to get the lead. This is after you've gotten the lead, and it continues to encourage them to go to your website. Any questions about this form so far? This stuff auto-populates for you. You can change the message. I just like to leave what they put in there because the Facebook experts know what they're doing. So throughout the process, you can click save, but once you're done, you're just going to click finish. And this creates the entire form page for your lead generation. So you've designed what the ad's going to look like up top and down below. We've selected what form we're going to do and what it's going to look like. Have I lost anybody yet?
Nope.
All right. So I am going to go back to our ad that we were working on before that was locked so that we can continue the process where we were. And it's not there. All right. So once you've got all of this done, so obviously this is the one that we just restarted again to show you the little details in here. But once you have chosen your demographic, your price, your date, you've designed your ad, you've chosen your form, when you're done with all of that, that's all the steps. You're gonna click this publish button down here. Right now, I haven't completed this ad because we started a new one with new details, but you'll click publish and it'll let you go. If you do have any issues, it'll give you little red marks and it'll tell you what you need to change. It's not going to just leave you guessing. You're not going to just have to try and figure out where you're going. It's just like MLS where it gives you the little red exclamation points to figure out where you're going. But you'll just click publish. And at the top of your ad, it's not going to exit you out of the screen. It's actually going to keep you in this screen. And at the top, it's going to show you that it's under review. Typically, the ads only take, I'd say like 30 minutes at most to review. but sometimes they take longer. Lately, it's still only taking about 30 minutes. So you'll just leave it, you'll come back. You do always want to come back and make sure that it did publish, because if you have any errors, like while they were reviewing it and they saw that there was an issue, it's not going to publish. So it'll show you back on your main screen right here that you have an ad set error or that something was declined. It'll show you the status, and you can click on it. You can click edit ad, and automatically it's going to show you a little red exclamation point again, and it's going to show you what you need to change. So if you go through publishing a whole ad and it gets denied, it's not trash. You can come out here, you can fix it, and you can republish it. It'll just get re-reviewed. So it, might have taken an hour off of your ad time, but they will re-review it, and then it'll get posted. If it's, if you completely messed up an ad, you can come out here and delete it. You can restart. You can duplicate ads with this button here if you want to just continue doing the same type of ad that you've done before. But you do need to keep in mind, if you duplicate ads or if you rerun campaigns like we did earlier, it's going to lock a lot of those features. So you're not going to have a lot of things to change. So if you've created an ad you really like and you don't want to have to do a lot of work, just reuse those campaigns. If you want to start from fresh and re-choose your demographic or recreate your form or anything, you really need to create a new ad campaign altogether. Now, we are recording this, so if you got lost at any point, I'm going to post this up on our quarantine corner. But if you Google Facebook business, they have an entire page just for helping people figure out how to do advertising. They've got great examples of what other people have done that work, and they've got tutorials on there as well. But really, at the end of the day, all that you need to know is how to get to this page and click create. You just have to know where this green create button is, because Facebook will walk you through it. They won't let you mess up, and they're going to make sure that you approve everything. Whenever you click publish, if your credit card information isn't already in there, that's where it's going to prompt you to give them your credit card information. Ours is already in there, so it's not going to prompt me to do that even if I clicked it. And again, I've never had an issue with our credit card on Facebook. They've got a lot of protection in there. I know some people have, but we've had really, really good success with it. Now, do we have any specific questions through the whole process? I know that's a lot to take in.
Joanna, on the first page, there was something called dynamic creative.
Mm-hmm.
And you skipped over it, and I'm just curious what it is.
Let's go.
As you're going down, you picked everything. Somewhere below there, there's something called dynamic creative.
I think it's actually on the second tab. There are a lot more features with Facebook. Yep. So it says provide individual assets like images, headlines that automatically generate and optimize creativity. So if you click into this, learn more, this will help you. They have a lot of different things where you can specifically create ads that are going to act a certain way with a certain demographic or act a certain way with certain people. They have also another thing that we didn't cover is pixels, because that's an hour class in itself. The pixel allows you to follow where your customer went once they went on your website and what they looked at. There's lots of different algorithms and analytics that you can get with this. So we can do a whole nother class on like a Facebook 2.0 for ads on how to follow through and use more of the analytics.
Okay. Yeah, I need to master what you just gave us. I was just curious what that particular heading was.
There are some features that I did skip over that it doesn't have to be filled out, but it's additional stuff that you can use to up your algorithms or figure out what your customers are doing. The pixels can be very complicated. People get very confused with the pixels and how to do a pixel and all of those different things.
I have somebody that asked for that. Keeping Current Matters asks for that, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I just set it aside for now. So.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, we can do a class on pixels all together.
Okay, give me some time to master this here. Okay.
Another time.
Huh?
Another time we could do that.
Yeah, for sure. Does anybody else have any other questions about anything specific that might have confused you in the process? We're good. Our brains a little overloaded.
Cool.
Awesome,
All right.
guys. All right, we are well over our hour, so I appreciate everyone sticking in and checking in and staying with me through it. And again, if you get lost with your Facebook ad, just give me a holler. I'm here for you guys.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you.
Everybody stay safe.
Bye.